Hey YouTube, this is Bill coming at you again with another review. I have a buddy of mine went to college in Nevada and left me some of his paintball stuff, and I was digging through and found one of his project slash loaner markers, so I figured I'd share that with you. Nice day in San Diego here, so I figured it was time to dust off some of the gear and get ready for summer paintball. So without further ado, this is his marker, or his loaner marker, I should say. This was his first marker ever. He's since purchased one of Bob Long's markers. Originally, I'll take the barrel off here. Originally, this was a Smart Parts Ion from the mid 2000s. We picked it up at we actually picked the whole marker new in the box up at a garage sale for like $100, and figured since the ions shot like crap anyways, because Smart Parts is a joke, that we just kind of gut it as we went and put some new parts in it. Just for fun, just something to get our hands dirty and have a bit of fun. We're both mechanically inclined, so we figured why not. So I'll just kind of run over the gun real quick here. As you can see, if you're familiar with paintball, you'll recognize that this is by no means a stock ion. We have the stock trigger frame here that runs along and up to the reg and down and right the trigger guard. It's still stock because I have not found one that we like enough to worth purchasing. That came out really strange. We have not found a trigger frame worth purchasing to replace this one with. Ion trigger frames, the one we would like is a Sith trigger frame. If you have a Sith trigger frame, PM me and I will PayPal you money tomorrow and we can get this deal done. But we have not been able to find a Sith trigger frame for a reasonable price to replace it with. One of the first things we did was scrap the body. This is a Shock Tech body. It's just aluminum. It looks like it was milled out of one piece. It's a nice body. We have not played with it since we put it on. They claim the back, the bolt cap is removable, which is also a load of crap, because you can see there's no way to get this off without taking the trigger frame off. The trigger frame runs through the top with Allen key screws, but the bolt does not come out the back. So don't believe any of that baloney. But this is just kind of a nice, kind of swoopy trigger frame. It's just kind of differentiates the ion we're building versus all the stock ones. It shows that we care a little bit, because ion owners tend to have a bad rap. So, stock trigger frame. The body is from Shock Tech. It was like $40 or whatever. Our buddy who owns the local shop kind of hooked us up. So that's cool. What else is on here? Oh, yes. I don't know if you can see that, but I had a CCM locking feed neck laying around, so I just kind of slapped that on there. It was better than the stock ion feed neck. Nothing too special. Stock Smart Parts gauge reads fine. No point replacing it. Let's see. Moving forward on the gun here, the first thing I did was ditch the lame and weird and hard to adjust Smart Parts regulator, and we picked up a very nice CP torpedo reg, super easy to adjust, small, lightens up the gun, feels good in the hands, however you want to hold it. Yeah, this right here is the CP reg, real easy to use, maintain. It's like any Bob Long torpedo reg or the old Intimidator regs. They're all basically the same, but we just bought a custom products one because they make good products. So standard fittings, macro line down here, as you can see. Sorry about the camera. We have a CP rail Actually, this side's the CP. We have the CP rail, and then we have the CP mini ASA. Um, it's an on-off ASA. It's got this little knob at the beginning, so when it's out, the tank's not being used, and when you screw it down, it's got an O-ring, and then it punctures your tank, and now your tank would be on. Actually, air would be flowing into the regulator, into the marker. Some things you can't see. Well, you can tell we put some clear grips on instead of the wraparounds, kind of lighten up the gun a little bit, and we find it a little more comfortable. These are just some dye. I think these are dye grips that were off of some autocockers. I think that's what these grips were originally made for, because they don't fit on here quite right, which is fine. We're not really diving into the dirt, or neither of us play Snake, so these grips work just fine. Plus, it's kind of cool to see the inside of the gun. You can see got a 9-volt right there, and inside of the gun internally we have changed 3 things. We have a Virtue ion board, which is freaking sweet. It's got all the modes you want. You can have it flashed by Virtue. You can have anything you want done to it. You can program it. It's not an LED or an OLED, so we programmed the board using the little dot right here. My co-owner in this gun has it memorized, so good for him. Secondly, we have in the top here, the gun's not on and there's no paint, but right in here are the eyes. We have a pair of Virtue laser eyes. I think they show up purple or green, or I don't remember, but it's been so long since either of us shot this gun. But we have Virtue laser eyes there, and my computer just fell asleep. Pardon me. So we have Virtue laser eyes. We have a pillow bolt. I don't remember who makes it. I don't remember who made a pillow bolt for the Ion, but whatever. We have one, which is cool. And then the last thing I upgraded was this trigger here is not stock. It is a CP blade style trigger. It's milled aluminum. It feels way better than the plastic piece of crap Smart Parts gives you. Real easy to get on it. This trigger doesn't offer a ton of room for your bottom finger. You can see how I'm hitting the front. I think we're going to fix that pretty soon. We're going to just carve off the bottom of the trigger guard and the top of the trigger guard over here and just have the whole thing open. But this CP trigger is pretty nice. It's not a critical trigger. It's not on bearings. It's just a crisp. We've got it set up so it's just nice and crisp. It actually needs a little bit of trigger work right now. So that's all the upgrades on this particular Ion. Overall, without a barrel, it's still pretty hefty. I mean, you're definitely noticing, you're carrying an older marker. I mean, this marker's probably an 06 standard Ion with a ton of upgrades. I mean, we've probably got this gun in upgrades and original cost is probably like $1,200. Parts aren't cheap. We did all our own labor. It is what it is. We had some money at the time, so we just kind of every now and then put a part on it. Yeah, so that's the freakishly expensive but not very good shooting originally Ion. My biggest deal with Smart Parts, you've heard me say Smart Parts is crap, the guns are overpriced, blah 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 blah. When you pay $200 or $250 for a marker, which I think is what the Ions were new when they came out, it should shoot well out of the box, and the Ions didn't. And I don't know what Smart Parts was doing, but the Ions came with all the Smart Parts guns, the Epiphany and the Shockers and the Ions and whatever other marker they've ever put out comes with proprietary parts and wrenches, and you can't put industry standard parts on them. or you can't disassemble your gun without, this one special individualized wrench. So if you bought a Smart Parts gun and you wanted to do stuff to it yourself, you couldn't. And they didn't shoot very well, and maybe I'll show you the other reg that came on this gun. It's an absolute hassle. They're just, it's, you wouldn't know Smart Parts cared about their customers. And the customer service is not great, so that's kind of why we chose this gun to put a bunch of upgrades into, because it needs it. Now, when you go to the field and they're like, oh, you play with an ion, dude, like, blow, get on my level, I got, an Ego 10, I shoot lasers. Well, we shoot lasers too, folks. This gun shoots very well. My buddy actually has a Stiffy carbon fiber freak insert barrel at college with him, waiting to put on the end of this gun. So don't be deceived if you're in Southern California and you see me at a field and I'm carrying an all-black ion. I will mow everybody down. Sorry, I just get really competitive when I talk about paintball because it is a competition. It's an adult version of tag. You get hit, you're done. You get tagged, you're out, That's kind of how the game works. So, I've rambled on too much about Smart Parts and my competitiveness. Once again, folks, the Smart Parts Ion with many upgrades. Here's the other side. Nice little shooter, but it took $700, $800, $900 to do it, plus the cost of the gun to begin with. So, if you're thinking about getting an Ion, keep that in mind. If you want a project, this is an interesting gun to tinker with because they're kind of like Honda Civics. Everybody made aftermarket parts for them because they needed it so bad. So yeah, that's my take and brief overview of my Smart Parts Ion.